Do you want to become the master of the lighting in your home? Today I'm going to show you how to install the TP-Link Smart Dimmer Switch and the TP-Link 3-way Smart Switch. Let's get started. Alright, so how do you go about installing one of these dimmer switches in a room that has dumb lights? Well, we have a Wi-Fi switch here. We're going to test it out. So here we've got our standard light switch, and we're going to replace that with the TP-Link dimmer Wi-Fi switch. And then you'll notice the wall plate that it comes with it's pretty big. It's quite a bit bigger than a standard wall plate. It's snapped on here pretty well, but it just unsnaps. Now, the thing about these is they do require that you have a neutral wire. And I'll show you how to determine if you have a neutral wire in your box or not. This has load and line. Now, inside of your box, you're going to have two black wires. Typically with a switch, you can put those black wires anywhere. I have arc faults in all the bedrooms because this house was remodeled about a year ago. The line is the wire that comes directly from the box, and that's going to be actually carrying electricity. And then load is going to be the one that just goes up to the light fixture itself, and that one typically does not carry voltage. So I'll show you how to test for both of those before we shut the power off. Now, as far as tools are concerned, what I suggest is a pair of needle nose pliers. You're going to need some sort of wire tool. You need something to test the voltage. And then you want a couple screwdrivers. You could use an electric drill, typically a flathead. And then I like using a Phillips head for inside of the box just because it makes getting those screws in a little bit easier. So let's dive in and take a look. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is just open up the box. Nice and easy. It's just two screws. You can kind of typically pop an edge. There it goes. All right, now this is live. I haven't shut the power off. I recommend you probably shut the power off before this, but I'm going to illustrate a couple things here. So if you take our tester, you see how it's flashing red there? That's the hot part, the part that actually carries electricity, so you want to obviously not shock yourself. We're going to take the actual switch out. And again, before you do this, you're going to want to turn the power off. So what I'm going to do to determine which of these black cables is the line and which is the load, I'm going to turn the switch off. And you can see that now this top one is carrying no current, but this bottom one will be. So now we know that the bottom one is hot, and that's the one carrying the current. So we can go ahead and mark that. If you pop out this bottom plastic piece, it has some stickers with it. So line is the supply in. This again comes from the box. Load is out to the lighting, neutral and ground. I'm just going to take the line, the one that's hot. I'm going to wrap this around it. There we go. Now I'm going to go down and shut off the electricity before we can take. All right, I just ran down to the breaker and shut the power off. So let's test it. Yep. It's verified off. Now before I tear into this, let's show you what you need to know about a neutral wire. So the way you can tell if you have a neutral wire or not, you're going to have, again, the line, the load, and then a ground, but then we also need a neutral. The neutral is typically a white wire if it's in your box, and oftentimes they're just twisted together. So if you dig inside your box, we've got this upper line that goes up to the light, and then we've got this lower line that comes down from the box, and those are just twisted together. These are our neutral wires. So this is what our neutral is going to go into, and then obviously we have our ground, and then we have our two wires here. So we're going to start by disconnecting the existing switch. Normally you can unscrew these. These happen to be more difficult to get out. On the TP-Link, everything is labeled on the back. So green is the ground, white is the neutral. So we're going to take our white and we're going to take our existing neutrals, and then we're going to wire nut all three of them together. Get those nice and tight. And then we've got our ground, which is our green. Again, is cut off the excess that we no longer need. Take our green from the box. Wire nut all those back together. And you want to get the wire nuts nice and tight. You can kind of test by tugging at them, making sure none of them come out. You want everything to be real nice and secure in there. And you don't want any extra metal hanging out of the end of the wire nuts because, well, except for on the ground, of course, since they're copper. But on these, you don't want any excess wearing out of there because When you press this all together, if there is any excess, like the ground and the neutral could touch each other, and you could potentially have an electrical fire. Nobody wants an electrical fire. So go ahead and strip off a little bit of the shrouding from these. And again, we're going to take the line and connect that to the line, which is the bottom one. Load to the load, tighten it down. And now what you could do is you could go down, turn the power on, and just kind of test this out, make sure it works ahead of time. I'm pretty confident in this. So we're just gonna button it up, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just edit it out in post and you'll never know. Get these started. And again, these just kind of go into the default, the standard places that the screws went in the original. So there's nothing new or different here. I should also note, if you do not have a neutral wire in your box, which some houses do not, there is no way to use this particular type of switch. So you're gonna have to find a switch that does not require a neutral, which I think most of them do. And the reason they do is because you have to have a constant source of power, since these are Wi-Fi. And it makes sense because the Wi-Fi receiver has to have power constantly in order to turn on and off. So let's take that faceplate that it came with. And the faceplate has these two up arrows. We want to make sure that's up. Then again, it just snaps on there. We peel the plastic off and boom, we're good to go. So with that, let's go turn back on the power to this room and see if it worked. All right, success. Light is on. And if you look closely, you can see this little Wi-Fi indicator that's flashing green and orange. So if we turn this, light went off, light turns on, cool. What we need to do now is grab the Kasa app. So I'm going to go to the Kasa app on my phone, and I'm going to go under devices, I'm going to press plus, add a new device, smart switches, and there's 3 different versions that they sell. They sell a smart switch, which is just your plain on-off switch, the 3-way switches, and then the smart dimmer. This is the smart dimmer. It says, before you start, have you already wired up your Wi-Fi smart dimmer? Yes. And now it says connect to your smart dimmer. So we have to go over into our settings, Wi-Fi, and in the networks, you should have TP-Link smart dimmer. There it is. So we're going to connect to this Wi-Fi switch's Wi-Fi network. Then we're going to go back to the Kasa app, connecting to smart dimmer. This may take a few minutes to establish a connection. In my experience, it's pretty quick though. Here it goes. Now it found the Wi-Fi switch, it connected to the network, and now it's going to start trying to find our Wi-Fi network so that we can set the Wi-Fi network for our house up as the switch's Wi-Fi network. There it goes. Here's a list of all the networks. We're going to select the one that's ours. Join. It already has a password. Connecting your smart dimmer to your home network. And again, this may take a minute. And there it is. Alexa found it as well. So we're going to name this after my son. Save it. Set the light switch. Hit save. Let's go ahead and test it. Cool. Everything is set up. Now, if we go over to the Alexa app, I got to notice that Alexa had actually found the device. So if we go to groups, what we can do is we can add a new group. So add group, and we will call this a custom name. I'm going to call this my son's room. Done. And then it's going to ask which Alexa enabled devices to enable for this room. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this list and try and find the smart switch. Alexa, turn the lights off in Roman's room. There it goes. Alexa, turn the lights on in Roman's room. And then the light's on. So in just a few minutes, we've taken this standard kind of dumb room that had this dumb bulb. We've added a smart switch, and now it has voice control throughout the house. It also has a Wi-Fi dimmer built in. So in the future, we can possibly add an Alexa Flex to my son's room. He can turn on and off his light. We can also now dim the lights, whereas we couldn't before. And when we set up routines with Alexa, we can do things like set up Alexa Good Night, which will turn off all the lights in the entire house. Additional to that, there's something called Alexa Guard, where Alexa will actually cycle lights randomly throughout your house. And now we can add this as one of the light rooms that it cycles on and off. We're getting to that point where I think this is kind of becoming more useful. So now we're going to do a three-way switch. So additional to the two black and the ground, and of course the white neutral, these also have a red, and the red is what carries the signal between the two sides. These have the neutral, which is the white, they have the green, which is the ground, they have the line load, which will be one of the black wires, and then they have two that they call traveler, and so one of those is going to be a black wire and one of those is going to be the red wire. And so we'll go ahead and get this disassembled and get it hooked up. All right, we're a couple hours later and we've got most of the dimmer lights and everything else installed in the upstairs and throughout the rest of the house. So what did that get us actually? Well, the cool thing is you can set up groups in the Alexa app. So you can create family room, your kids' rooms, kitchen, whatever it is. And each device can be attached to more than one group. And the reason that's cool is because you can create, say, your master bedroom group, but you can also create an upstairs group or even a whole house group. And you can put in things like your smart switches, your Hue light bulbs, the Alexa that's in that particular region, and your Sonos speaker. So we created a master bedroom group, for example, that has the Sonos speaker, all of the lights in the bedroom area, the Amazon Flex that's plugged into the master bedroom. And so that way you just say, you know, turn on lights, turn off lights, and it knows which area to control. If we want to do something else, we can say, like, for example, Alexa, turn off Roman's room. And you can see that the far room back there turned off. That's my son's room. So we can say, Alexa, turn on Roman's room. And instead we can say, Alexa, turn off the upstairs lights. You know, so that turned off the bathroom, the bedroom, the hallways, the stairs, and both of the kids' bedrooms. So now with one easy command, you can turn off an entire area of the house. So now obviously this is just a start. I think it's a decent kind of budgeted way to get into an actual useful smart home. So we have the voice controls, we have the light bulbs, we have the light switches. It's all kind of working cohesively as one unit. And we didn't really break the bank doing it. Now, of course, your mileage may vary. If you needed to hire an electrician to come in and wire up these outlets or these switches, that would cost quite a bit more. So, you know, keep your budget in mind when you're going into this, but it's a good place to start. You don't have to do the entire house. You might just start with one bedroom, get a starter kit or something. And then this is a good foundation for you to expand into other areas of the house. So check it out in the description. I've got links to all the products I used here today. No, this isn't sponsored. None of this stuff was paid for by anyone. It's just my opinions and based on my own research. So hit me up with any questions you have. If you want to get started with smart home stuff and you're just confused on where to start, I think this is a good place to go. Thank you guys so much. Please smash that subscribe button and we'll have some more videos coming up soon. Thanks.